Hi, this is Stacia, and we're going to take a look at a training game that I played on chess.com. I just played this game. I have not analyzed it yet, so I'm going to analyze it with you guys. So, my opponent opened with knight f3. Oh, by the way, my opponent was rated about 1680, and I was rated about 1695 for this game. So, definitely looking to take a win and get over 1700 once again. So I like d5 against knight f3. This way, if they go here, I can go knight f6, and this is my normal repertoire. But to my surprise, my opponent played b3. So this is kind of like a Nimzo Larsen attack, but with knight f3 thrown in first. And I don't think I've ever faced this, maybe in a blitz game. So my general plan against the Nimzo Larsen attack is I'm just going to trade off my light square bishop, put all my pawns on light squares, develop my pieces, and then go from there. Usually c5 or e5 are the breaks. So I played knight f6, and after bishop here, I did play the move bishop to g4. Now, I'm allowing double pawns here. You know, he could play bishop takes knight, but I don't think it's a good move. And let's check with the computer. Yeah, it is not one of the top moves. If he plays here, black is immediately better after g takes f6. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's so early that I can arrange my pieces and make use of the g file, castle queenside. Not only that, but why is black spending time developing their bishop? 3 tempos they spent on this bishop, and now there's just gaping holes on the dark squares. So that is why doubling the pawns is not good. So my opponent played e3, recognizing that. So I tried to just play flexible moves here. I know I want my pawn on e6. So I put my pawn on e6. He played here, breaking the pin. Okay, I know I want my bishop on e7. So protecting the knight, I can always now recapture if he takes. Okay, he went here. And well, my plan was to take on f3. And I did. Now, it's funny. If I was a 1500 player, I would say don't give up your 2 bishops, retreat it. But I'm a 1700 player, and I know that sometimes you should. I've actually been criticized in some games for doing this move, for taking here. And I've had some people say, oh, that's beginnerish, you know, you gave up your 2 bishops, like what are you doing? No, but I have a strategy, and you have to remember that in chess, sometimes color complexes are important. And my argument for this move is that I can put all my pawns on light squares. That makes my dark square bishop very happy. And on top of that, why is this bishop on f3? Okay, you know, he is not versatile here whatsoever. That's a brick wall. These squares are not available. And if he has to simply retreat, that loses the tempo. So I'm telling you that bishop takes f3 is a good move. And I'm going to check now with the computer. Yes, guess what? It's the top move. I'm not lying to you guys. All right, so here we go. And not only that, but I played this way against a master before, my coach. And he told me that he really liked the way I played against it. So that's yet another sign that this is a correct plan. Okay, now that I got my insecurities out of the way, let's continue. The knight, yeah, I want the knight here. I do not want to block the c pawn. And this is most flexible. If I go c6 right now, then maybe I'll regret it because I kind of would like to go c5 in one move. On the other hand, if I castle and my opponent starts throwing their pawns at me, maybe I'll wish I didn't castle yet. So I think this is the most flexible move. And it also prepares c5. So I did that. He played d4, and I simply castled now because I was pretty sure that he's not going to go queenside anymore. Sure enough, he did castle, and now I think it's time for c5. So I thought this is a good move. Let's check with the computer and see what the computer wants. My other options were c6, which seems a little more passive. I could also try, I mean, I considered this, but I don't think it's good. And I don't know what else to consider. Maybe h6. So let's see what the computer wants. Computer says c6, best move. What, really? Followed by a5, which I didn't even consider, but that makes a lot of sense. We want to attack the Fanchetto structure, and it does like knight e4 as well. Okay, I want to look at knight e4 first. If they take and double our pawns, I think the argument is that we will play here and then just try to defend our e6 pawn. The dark square bishop is still happy. Pawns on light squares. So yeah, after knight d2 attacking the pawn, we then go f5. Okay, and you can play this way. So this is a way to play. I went c5, and there must be something wrong with this. Also a5. I was actually concerned about e4 here. Should I be concerned about e4? Computer says c4. If e4... Oh, well, you know what? I just take that then. That's a free pawn. Never mind. So this is better. Here, I would probably go c6. And the computer does not like it. It says knight c3 now. Yeah, so the computer understands that white wants to play c4 and then put the knight behind the pawn. That is ideal in this type of structure. So apparently the refutation to my move, I'm looking, is c4. I actually did consider this during the game. Yeah, taking advantage of the fact that I did not play c6, protecting the pawn. So this move kind of like forces me to go here. If I play this move, the b pawn actually gets upgraded to a c pawn, and it's in the center now. And white has a pretty nice center. I think you guys agree. So yeah, I like c4 for white. That makes a lot of sense. But let's continue. In the game, he played c3. All right, well, c3. That is a passive move. It blocks the bishop. What did I do here? I played rook c8. Makes a lot of sense to me. I figured the c file is opening one way or another. They're either going to take and I have an open c file, putting pressure on this weak pawn, or I'm going to take and we'll have an open c file or put pressure on the weak pawn. So I like rook c8. And after knight here, yeah, keep in mind the knight wanted to go here after c4. So that was a better plan for white. I took the pawn. Now, I actually was wondering what to do here. I actually didn't know. The computer says it's the top move. It also likes queen to a5, which I considered. But I didn't really see the point. I mean, mostly I just wanted to get my queen into the game somehow. And queen b6 did not seem correct to me. Blocking the b pawn. So queen a5, I guess, is just putting your queen somewhere. I guess that's what that is. All right. I took, they took. All right, I can't be unhappy with this open C file. My rook's there. Yeah, and then here again, I didn't really know what to do. I felt like this is potentially a move, but do I really want to double my pawns and play F5? It didn't seem like the right idea to me. Well, and actually, I can't even do that, right? Doesn't that lose a pawn now? No, it actually loses a pawn, so I can't do that. So instead, I played this move, trying to gain space on the queen side. And the computer's okay with it, but it likes queen b6 and bishop b4 better. I definitely consider bishop b4. Idea being, let's take the knight or disturb the knight and then sink the knight in, because then it won't lose a pawn anymore. So I thought they'd play a3 here, which is the top move. And then I was planning this. Now I kind of do this later, so we'll look at it in more detail then. So I played here, b5, just trying to gain some space. And I actually thought this move was kind of clever by my opponent, because they're attacking my pawn, and if I defend it, they could attack it again with a pawn, a4. And if exchanges happen, that a file opens up, and now this rook has an open file. So I actually thought this was a pretty clever move. I wonder if it's best. It's the second top move. Okay. All right, so here I thought I should defend the pawn. Computer says queen b6. Isn't that what I play? Let's see. No, I defended with a pawn first, but then a4. So queen b6, I want to defend my pawn. He did take, which I think he should, and the computer agrees. Yeah, and now this rook is on an open file, so white has evened up the score, I think. But on the other hand, white has two bishops, so I actually like white a little better here. Plus, my knight is awful. But I guess their knight's awful too. No, it's not. It's not as awful. This knight has the f3 square, and my knight does not. These are superfluous knights. So, okay, bishop to d3. Yeah, and now I decided I might take the knight, or I might sink my bishop into c3. I definitely considered rook a8 here, which is the top computer move. I'm going to turn the engine back off, though. I am relying on it a little too much. I thought if here, he does not have to take, he does not have to do anything, and I just gave up the c file. So I wasn't that keen on this. I thought maybe knight here now. And now my knight has a job keeping the other better knight out, but this is not ideal. All right, instead of that, I went for this plan, bishop to b4. I was planning bishop c3. That will pin the bishop to the rook. Hey, if I get a trade of bishops, then guess what? My opponent doesn't have the two bishops. So I tried that. But honestly, I did not think, and after this move, it looks like I'm going to lose my pawn, and I don't know what to do about it necessarily. So I went ahead with this. Let's see if that's the best move real quick. I'll check. Computer wants a g6. I got nothing. I don't know why. It also likes queen b7. I also don't know why. All right, well, I'm going to leave the engine on then because something's going on here. So after this move, he did take, I took. Okay, he does not have the two bishops anymore, and he took my pawn. So I'm a pawn down. But if you guys know me, and you do, most of you, then you know that I sacrifice a pawn every game, usually in the opening. So I'm not upset by this. I'm going to play for the initiative. Rook b8, that attacks the bishop. They've got to retreat it. They did. Oh, wow. He could have gone here. And the bishop's kind of awesome there. I did not consider that. So I'm glad he didn't find that. So the bishop went here. Now I went e5. Okay, I was just thinking, like, what's the most forcing move I could play in this position? Well, I could sacrifice the exchange. Or I could play e5. Wow, it turns out e5 is the top move. So I'm happy to see that. But when you play e5, you realize that it actually does have some threats. Number one, if he takes, I will take with a knight. I'll be on his bishop. And, well, my knight is finally improved. So I don't think he should do that. Plus the center pawn's gone. I'm also maybe threatening to make the bishop uncomfortable. Notice there's not a lot of good squares for the bishop. And also, if he, well, I could also take here. And that, my friends, wins a pawn and defends the rook still. So I think e5 is just a good move. There's no good answer to it. He played here. But now I do not have to stop my plan. I can actually take the pawn now, because guess what? It's defending the rook. And if he takes now, then I just won a pawn. I've got to attack on the knight, and my pawn is far advanced. It's probably nothing special, but it's better than what I had before, being down a pawn. So he actually took the pawn, and now I think I should take with a queen to defend my rook. Okay, and he did take, and we exchanged. And now I thought this position was rather interesting. So check this out. I am now attacking the rook. So he should probably do something about that. But on the other hand, I might be threatening rook e8, I thought. Like rook e8, defended by the knight, by the way, attacks the queen. And now this queen is actually doing an important job. It's defending the knight and the bishop. So if the queen moves away, like let's say the queen goes to f3 in that case, I would win a knight. And how else would the queen defend the bishop? I'm not really sure. So I actually thought maybe white should go here. He did not play this move in the game, but I actually thought this move was best. Maybe I'm totally wrong, because I thought if I go, see, I could also check first. Is that what I want to do? I thought if rook e8, I thought he might have this move. Because now if I take the queen, isn't this check? I just realized something. I didn't see this in the game. The rook can actually return and defend. Oh my gosh, that's sick. That is sickening, isn't it? The knight is still guarding that square. I didn't see that during the game. I actually thought that I couldn't allow this variation. But maybe my opponent did see it. Because he played a different move. Yeah, he played queen here, and you know, this is a cheapo threat. I mean, I'm gonna see that. At least I usually will. And by the way, your rook's hanging, so I took it. So the game ended like that. I know, kind of a weird ending. But on the other hand, what should white play here? I thought white should play rook a7, but I guess rook e8 actually does win, which I did see. but I thought I found the refutation. Rook takes knight, which does not work. There is no back rank checkmate, like I showed before. So he cannot play rook takes knight then. Well, if he can't play rook takes knight, then the queen is attacked and white is going to lose material. There's just no question. So rook a7 is a blunder. So what should white play then? I thought maybe they would play here. But I guess, you know, again, this rook e8 move, it's quite good. It's quite good. Wow, the computer wants this. That's pretty clever, isn't it? Because if I take the bishop, then they take here. It's not quite checkmate, but it still is pretty sad. I go here. Cannot take the knight. It's defended. But just move the knight. This looks quite good. This is winning for white. So if they did this, I couldn't take it that way. I have to take with a king. But my king is actually a little bit safe. I don't see any checks for the queen or the rook or the knight. So yeah, interesting. So it turns out I'm using the computer now. The best move for white is rook d1. It says black's only slightly better after this move. Yeah, yeah, it's solid. I mean, so white is going passive, but at least they're not losing. I think that's one of the hardest things in a chess game, though. It's like, you know that going passive is not good, but sometimes if you don't go passive, then you lose the game. So going passive is correct. So there you go. All right, well, I think I'm pretty happy with this analysis. I am now going to go through the key moments, the chess.com feature, and look at the graph. Maybe I could show you guys too, right? Hang on a second. Whoa, that's not what I intended to grab. Okay, this. So okay, how's that? We'll go with that. And now you guys can see too. So looks like the graph says that white, it was basically an equal game, just kind of how I felt. Then white won a pawn and was better. That's basically what that is. Then I had counterplay. Now if white stopped all my counterplay, then they would just stay better. But I won the pawn back, and then I got a really nice position at the end somehow. Not exactly sure how. Okay, so I actually do want to know that. I think it was that move e5 that really caused... Wow, it just flew through everything. It says I played with 93.9% accuracy. I'm pretty happy with that. 89.5 for my opponent. Let's look at the report. So I know you probably can't read this. I am going to change my background soon, I promise. My opponent had 1 inaccuracy and 1 blunder. I had 1 inaccuracy. Wow, I'm pretty excited. When I play like that, that makes me happy. So probably my inaccuracy was losing the pawn. Is that what it's saying? Let's look at it. Yeah, it was this move, but I was going to lose the pawn no matter what. Oh, it wants to double instead. Somehow rook c6 is better. That is hard to believe. Okay, rook c6. I mean, now they take, right? Is this somehow not true? I have rook c2. Oh, check this out. We're using the bishop's influence on the knight, and we're creating a pin. And that move discourages the bishop from taking the pawn. So I'm proceeding with my normal plan and daring them to take the pawn. It's kind of a waiting move in a way, because you're saying, okay, you cannot take the pawn. After this, you cannot take the pawn because I'll go here and attack the knight again. I mean, I would expect, I mean, why not? Oh, it's worse than that. It's not just the knight, it's a fork. Wow, I didn't even see the fork. That's sad, isn't it? So white has to go knight to c4. What? Knight to c4. Wow. Attacking the queen. Counterattack. Wow, so if you're going to play rook c2, you have to see knight c4, because otherwise it wins, right? Yeah, knight c4 is like the only move. Oh, there's also bishop c1, but who wants to play that? Knight c4, incredible. So if you take the knight, you lose a rook. So that doesn't seem like a fair trade. So instead, we take the queen and allow the trade. Probably now we... Wow. Yeah, I mean, if I take the knight, they take the rook. So I would have to go here, and then they take here. And after all that, it's even. Wow, computers. Those are some really cool resources, though. Both moves are very cool. This is going to be my flashcard of the game, for sure, because I think this is really instructive. That to understand that if we do nothing and white takes here, we have rook c2. But then you have to see further and see that knight c4 is a resource, counterattacking the queen. That's amazing. And then you have to see all those exchanges after that. I mean, that is some beautiful stuff. This is why I love chess. So, okay. I guess that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back with more. And hey, I'm over 1,700. I think I'll celebrate this by changing not only the thumbnail, but the backgrounds as well. Let's start fresh. I want to go on a run to 1,800. We're going to start fresh, and this is going to be my run. So I hope that you guys will stay with me, because I am feeling like a stronger player. And hey, I just got 1 inaccuracy in this whole game. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with myself because I feel like I'm a dum-dum. So let's go from here. All right, thanks. Bye.